Alright guys, well today is still Tuesday, May 3rd, 2022. And as I mentioned in my previous video, I will not be trading tomorrow because my wife and I have a friend that's coming over, so we're going to be spending some time with them. So I just decided to take the day off. But I did want to post a video up on Bookmaps, which is what you see in front of you right now. I know I'm mentioning some of my videos, you hear the words Bookmaps, you hear the word Liquidity, and I just kind of wanted to explain what that is and how I use this system here, how it helps me in my trading. So I get Bookmaps from TD Ameritrade, and it's $40 a month, which is an excellent deal because if you go to bookmaps.com and you just get it from them directly, you can easily pay $180 to $360 per month because they do have a lot of bells and whistles and a lot of other things that you can subscribe to for more data or things like that. However, with TD Ameritrade, I get it for $40 a month. I get somewhat of a basic package, but it really gives me everything that I need, and I don't need any of the other stuff that is offered. So this is perfect for me. So this is Bookmaps, and as you can see, it has a lot of these bubbles in front of you and looks like a little heat map with dark areas, orange areas, red areas, and bands going through. So I'll explain what that is briefly. The bubbles that you see, they're just market orders. So when somebody hits a market order, it executes immediately and shows up as a bubble right there. So for instance, this big bubble here, that was a market order for 3,126 at 17.28. That's how many shares went through on that trade, on that little market order. So what I look at when I say liquidity is I look at these numbers here. Okay, so you can see this is kind of like a heat map, and this is getting a little orange, so it's a little hotter. It's telling me there's more liquidity at this point. And as you can see, I'll zoom in a little bit. At 1689, there's 47,000 shares being traded here or out on limit order. 1792, there's 70,000 shares being traded here. So all this means is if this stock, CCL, Carnival Cruise Lines, is going to get up to 1793, somebody needs to break through these 70,000 shares. So there needs to be a 70,000 order put in to break through this to make to 1793. Which in some stocks it's a lot, in some stocks it's not so much really. So for instance, I'll look at another stock. Let's look at American Airlines, AAL. See what that shows us. At $18, you have 71,000 shares. And it helps you with this coloring because it draws your eyes quickly and automatically, so you can right away see where the big points are. So you can see right there, 91,000, 99,000 at $17, 91,000 there. Here's a big one here, 187,500 shares at 21. So this really helps me in my trading because it allows me to be so direct in my risk parameters. I'll give you an example. Let's say this $21 has got 187,000 shares. I'm going to say that's pretty good resistance at that point. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to expect that it's going to bounce against 21 and go back down because it will not be able to break 187,000 shares. So what I would do if that was the case was I would short some at 2090 and I would put a stop at 2101. So immediately I know that I am risking 11 cents on this trade. So if I going with 10,000 shares, that means that I am risking $1,100 on this trade. And the very nice thing is, if I put my stop at 2101, that's a good thing, because I want to stop out if this 187,000 shares breaks, because that tells me there's some incredible strength here. It's going to continue going up. But if I enter at 2090 and my stop is 2101, that means it's 11 cents. I want to make sure that I can get at least 11 cents out of it going down to my side. So that will be 2080. Sorry, 2079. However, for my trading, I like to look at least 2, maybe 3 to 1 P&L possibilities in order to enter the trade. And that's what I would look at. Does it have the room to go in my favor? If I'm risking 11 cents, but it can only give me 10 cents, that's not a good profit to loss ratio. So that's what I look at. Now, just because something is high liquidity does not mean that I'm automatically going to short it here because I think it's resistance, or go long here because I think it's support. You have to look at the stock individually. You have to look at the volume. If it is a bear's market and it's barely making it to 21, and all these little bubbles that you see are trading for 1,600, 1,000, 800, 100, the likeliness of it busting through 190,000 shares is not very likely. So that's a time that I would take a shot and short it. However, if you see these bubbles getting bigger, where you're getting 30 or 50 or 70,000 shares per bubble, this one is 5,200 here, you can see. But some stocks have much bigger bubbles than this, or market orders. So if you have those big market orders, then the possibility of busting through this, it would be maybe likely, depending on the volume and everything else that's going on. So you still have to watch everything, but this just kind of gives me another perspective of the market and what's happening. I can also zoom back to the start of the day. What I was looking at earlier was at 1 minute, but if you zoom back out, you can zoom as far as you want, and you can really see what's been happening with the stock. So here's 9:30 when the market opens, right? It tried to push up, and then it went back down. And when it went back down, boom, somebody put out a liquidity order here, high liquidity. Looks like it was brought back down, busted through that, right? Look at that. An order was just put out for 200,000 shares at 1840. That was just put out, you just saw that. So I'll go back in my 1 minute. There it is, 1840, 200,000 shares. And it's trading at 1870 right now. So if it goes back down to 1850, should I go long on this and give it a shot? I'm not really sure, because just as easily as that was put up in here, you saw when it was put in, they can just as easily remove this order. And that's called market spoofing. That's not legal, but it does happen, sadly. So I'll kind of keep an eye on this for today and see if the market orders, or if the limit order stays here, or if it disappears, or what happens. But just wanted to show you that that's how I use the system to my advantage, and that's how I can get very, very accurate entries and exits, and you can really moderate your risk however you want to. So again, it's called Bookmaps. I get it through TD Ameritrade, but other people get it through Bookmaps itself if you want more features. So I think I'll wrap it up there for today. I'll post this video up to, like I said, I will not be trading tomorrow. We got friends coming over, but I will be back on Thursday, May 5th. All right.